Welcome back to Global Business America. I'm Rachelle Akuffo with Starting Block, our monthly look at startups disrupting business as usual. Now today we take a look at some very special people in the lives of entrepreneurs and changemakers, their mothers. Now, is there some special recipe for setting children on the path to success? Well, to find out, I spoke to Margot Machol Bisnow, author of Raising an Entrepreneur, 10 Rules for Nurturing Risk Takers, Problem Solvers and Changemakers. She interviewed the mothers of 60 entrepreneurs and people shaping the world. Now, Margot is also the mother of changemaker Elliot Bisnow, founder and managing partner of Summit, an organization that hosts events Forbes magazine calls the Davos of Generation Y. I began by asking Margot why the childhood of future disruptors was so important to her.
My son, Elliot, my older son, started a company called Summit, or Summit Series, which is Conferences of Young Entrepreneurs. He started it in 2008. And so over the last almost 9 years now, I've had the opportunity to meet hundreds of entrepreneurs from all over the country. And by the way, for entrepreneur, we define entrepreneur as anyone who started something. So for-profit, nonprofit, profits for purpose, artists, activists, anyone who starts something. And I would just meet all these young people, and I was so curious to know how they turned out the way they did.
Well, a lot of people go kind of just directly to the source. They ask these CEOs, why the mothers? Why go there?
So I asked all these young people how they turned out the way they did, so willing to put everything on the line, so willing to take all this risk and work so hard to turn their passion into a project. And they all told me the same thing. They all said, I had a mom who believed in me.
When a parent hears, turn your passion into a project, they're thinking, ooh, doesn't sound like a lot of financial security. Why is nurturing that so important?
So I didn't realize this when I started the book, but since I've finished it and I've been talking to so many groups, I really understand now that we're at this incredible confluence of trends in the United States where, just as you're saying, all these parents who grew up in a certain way, in a certain time, a path that they thought would work, and that path is broken. So these parents think they have to tell their children that they have to study all their classes, and they have to get into a good college, and they have to graduate from college. And these kids are miserable. And they don't actually have to do that. They can do, for the first time in history, they can actually do something they love. I mean, I was just looking at Time magazine this week. The cover story is about teenagers who are cutting themselves because they're so miserable. And Atlantic magazine had a cover story on the Silicon Valley suicides, kids walking in front of trains. And when I say that every one of these children had, or they're not children now, but growing up, they had a mother who believed in them, and you'll say, well, all parents believe in their children. But no, parents love their children. But most parents, as you said, don't believe that if their child does the thing that makes their heart sing, that they can make a living. And I want to scream to them, let your children do what they love. Relax, it'll be okay.
And it has certainly, with technology and everything else, really opened up all these career paths for people.
Right, it's like, this world didn't exist when I was in college. You couldn't create a job out of nothing. It wasn't possible. And I talk to all these parents now, and they're so worried. And I say, what's your child majoring in? Political science. Does he like it? No, he hates it. Does he want to do something in political science? No. What does he like? And then they say, oh, he likes computers. He likes cars. He likes music. He likes video games, something. And I say, why don't you take all that money that you're spending for him to go to college when he's not happy and he's not studying, and let him have an unpaid internship for a year in an area he loves, and see, maybe something will strike him. No, he has to graduate. Why? He doesn't have to graduate.
Now, another thing we saw in the book, we saw a lot of diversity. It didn't just limit it to one industry. We see men, we see women. Was that important for you?
It was very important, because I think especially when people think entrepreneur, they think some white tech guy in Silicon Valley. And for me, being an entrepreneur is so much bigger. It's, as I said, it's anyone who starts something. And so it was important to me, both the inputs race, religion, ethnicity, family income, family size, birth order, where they were born in the US, from Canada, other countries, small towns, big cities. So that was important to be diverse. And then outcomes, as we discussed, what they ended up doing. And that's what was so crazy to me, that I took this completely diverse group of people, and well, in some ways they were raised differently, but in core ways they were all raised the same.
Now, in terms of some of the most memorable stories, it's a real mix of humor, and now there's also some cases of some bullying that you talked about for some of these entrepreneurs growing up. What really stood out to you there?
Well, in terms of the bullying, one of the rules is embrace adversity. And that's something I think that parents in general, we want to protect our kids. But it turns out that that's not necessarily such a great thing. That if you struggle and you survive, you come out stronger. And there was an astonishing amount of adversity to me. 10% of them lost a parent before they were out of college, which is a huge number in our country, a huge number. Divorce, death, serious illness, families losing all their money, kids who lost all their hair, physical disabilities, a lot of it. But as you say, a couple of them were bullied, and the parents basically just, well, in some cases the parents changed their schools. From a small private school to a big public school, or a big public school to a small private school, or a charter, or whatever. They had to get them into a safer environment. And then they basically said, you're a capable person, and they're jerks, and, it'll be okay.
Now, you did manage to narrow these traits down to 10. First of all, how did you narrow it down to 10, and which were the 10 that really popped for you?
Yeah, so maybe the most common is that they all learned to compete. It was almost a joke with me. At the end of a conversation, I'd say, oh, by the way, did you do sports? And then it was like, oh, yes, I played soccer in college. Oh, yes, I played tennis in college. Oh, yes, I was the national equestrian champion. Oh, yes, I was in the Olympic development team for skiing. I mean, on and on and on. And then a lot of the others who didn't do sports, it was, oh, yeah, I ran for student government. Oh, yes, I entered chess contests. Oh, yes, I entered rap contests. Oh, yes, I entered art contests. There's something about putting yourself out there and competing and learning to fail and learning. It's my favorite quote by Billie Jean King. She said, we don't call it failure, we call it feedback. And learning that failure isn't something you are, it's something you do. And it's how you learn, and it's part of the learning process and how you grow. And when you compete, that's what happens. And it's real. It's not somebody, trying to get your grade up or telling you did a good job no matter what. It's real, and it's honest, and it's learning to work hard, and it's learning to get grit, and it's learning to fight until you win.